Incredible journey. Black entrepreneur exposes airline discrimination in 15 life-changing minutes. Marcus Lewis stepped onto the plane, heart pounding with excitement. This was his chance to show the world what he could do. He worked tirelessly to elevate his family's catering business, a labor of love forged from the memories of his mother stuffing lunchboxes, hustling to make ends meet. The vibrant city echoed with energy, its tall buildings humming with ambition. As he settled into his seat, he envisioned investors being wowed by his delicious offerings, the aroma of his mother's recipes wafting through the air of the aviation expo. But then it happened. Airline staff approached with cold eyes, questioning his right to be there. "Is this your seat?" The words hit him like a punch to the gut. He felt the weight of judgment, a storm brewing in his chest. They treated him like he didn't belong, just a black man in a space where he clearly belonged. Marcus's confidence wavered, replaced with self-doubt, a sickness gnawing away at his stomach. The spark of hope dimmed in an instant. Tears stung his eyes as memories of his mother rushed back, always pushing, always fighting for a better life. She worked her fingers to the bone, teaching him that hard work and integrity meant everything. But now, in that moment, he felt small, invisible. The buzz of other passengers faded into a low hum as he wrestled with his emotions. As the plane ascended, Marcus refused to drown in despair. He needed to rise above, and with each passing second, he could hear the voices of his family and neighbors reminding him of their struggles against similar biases, a symphony of resilience. They had all faced prejudice, and he was determined to turn this moment into power. The fire in his heart reignited. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. After the flight, fueled by support from his community, Marcus confronted the airline executives. It was his time to stand tall. With conviction, he spoke out against the injustice, demanding respect not just for himself but for everyone who had been marginalized. The weight of his mother's sacrifices pressed against his chest. Memories flooded back: hot kitchens, laughter mixed with the scent of spices, evenings spent planning for a brighter tomorrow. Then, out of nowhere, he pieced together something incredible. His family had roots in aviation, untapped connections that should have opened doors. As he articulated his vision of collective empowerment, the room fell silent. Change was within reach. He felt a camaraderie blooming, a movement igniting. But just as hope ignited, the stakes surged. Would prejudice stifle his dreams, or could he uproot the deeply ingrained discrimination that pervaded? Marcus stood at the edge of something monumental, hearts beating in sync with the rhythm of destiny. Would this moment redefine what success meant for him and his community? The question loomed, leaving his fate tantalizingly uncertain. As the applause faded, Marcus glanced around the room. A dozen faces stared back at him, some frowning, others intrigued. He sensed a mixture of energy coursing through the space, a pulse of possibility. His earlier doubts felt miles away now, replaced by the fierce determination to fight for what he believed in. But deep down, he knew the battle wasn't solely his. This was for everyone who had been dismissed, overlooked, and marginalized. The head of the airline's board, a heavy-set man with balding hair and a crimson tie, leaned back in his chair, arms crossed. His skeptical demeanor spoke volumes. "You expect us to believe that connections will change our policies?" He scoffed, but there was something resting beneath his incredulous gaze, perhaps a glimmer of curiosity, or even fear of the change Marcus was about to unleash. "Not just connections," Marcus replied, his voice steady. "It's about reevaluating our industry's approach. It's about inclusivity, real engagement. My family's history with aviation is a testament to what we can achieve when we work together." He glanced at his laptop, where he prepared slides showcasing statistics of minority-owned businesses in the aviation sector, each number a glaring reminder of the opportunity lost. The tension in the room crackled, and his pulse quickened. He shared the story of his mother again, the flame of her spirit lighting up each word. "She taught me that passion can turn a meal into a gathering, a business into a community. we can influence the way our industry is perceived. Imagine showing young kids, especially kids of color, that they too can have a seat at this table. A murmur rippled through the crowd. Their expressions began to shift, skepticism giving way to introspection. Couldn't he help but feel hopeful? Could he be the catalyst for change? Just then an executive from the back stood up. Her name tag read Patricia, and she looked formidable with sharp features and an unwavering gaze. "This presentation is compelling, Marcus," she said, her voice calm but commanding. "But how do we ensure this is more than just a momentary conversation?" That was the million-dollar question. Marcus felt the pressure instantly. Breaths held. The room awaited his response. "Accountability," he stated firmly, meeting her gaze head-on. "We need commitments, actionable items, not just talk. These proposals can change lives, but they require transparency and measurable success. We can establish a task force, collaborate with minority groups, create scholarships, internships. These are not just policies, they are pathways." There was a shifting in the room again, and Marcus could sense something new, curiosity turning into interest. Patricia nodded, a slight smile breaking her stern exterior. "And what's in it for you? How do we ensure you're not just seeking fame from this?" Marcus opened his mouth, ready to voice his dreams, the real reason behind his fight. "For me, this isn't about fame. It's about legacy, leaving something behind for my children, showing them that they can follow their dreams. I want to flip the script on what success looks like. Together we can create a ripple effect that starts today." Around him, murmurs transformed into thoughtful conversations as the executives began to huddle, ideas clashing together like sparks. The atmosphere had shifted completely. Hope hung thick in the air. But just then, a notification pinged on his phone. It was a news alert. "Major airline scandal breaks about wrongful terminations," the headline read. His heart sank. Just when it seemed like progress was in sight, the weight of external challenges loomed. He needed to stay strong. With renewed determination, Marcus took a deep breath. "We're about to change the narrative. But it won't be easy. Are we ready for this fight?" The question echoed in the room as everyone held their breath, teetering on the brink of a new beginning. Would they join him or retreat to complacency? The stakes were higher than ever, and his journey had only just begun. The tension was palpable. A myriad of eyes focused on Marcus, waiting for the next wave of determination to wash over them. He felt a knot tighten in his stomach as he glanced at the news alert again. It felt like a storm brewing just outside the door of this hopeful meeting. How could they discuss real change when the world was shouting about injustice? Patricia stepped forward, her brows knitted in concern. "Marcus, these allegations, they could overshadow everything you're trying to achieve here. How can we address this?" He took a moment, collecting his thoughts. "We tackle it head-on," he said, his voice growing stronger. "If we're serious about change, we have to confront these issues directly. We need a response. An open letter, a press conference at 1T just help our public image. It will show we stand united against discrimination in our industry." A young woman in the back spoke up, her voice laced with urgency. "But will addressing this scandal put our reputation on the line? What if it backfires?" "Exactly," Marcus exclaimed, excitement building. "What if it does? Change doesn't come from playing safe. We're trying to create a culture of accountability. We have the opportunity to show not only our commitment to diversity, but also to integrity. If we own our mistakes, we show we're capable of growth." The murmurs in the room grew louder, ideas bouncing between the executives. Some expressed doubt, others supported Marcus. Every heartbeat echoed in his ears. How could he guide this discussion toward a collaborative solution, not just a debate about risks? "Marcus, what if we hosted a series of town hall meetings?" A voice suggested. "Invite community leaders and affected individuals to share their stories, opinions on how we can improve." Yes. His heart raced as he embraced the idea. Real stories can humanize the board's decisions. Seeing and hearing those impacted by our policies, now that's genuine engagement. Patricia's fingers drummed on the table, her eyes shining with what looked like inspiration. "We can leverage the media too. Ensure our genuine intentions are heard. This could reposition us as leaders in accountability and inclusivity. This isn't a setback, it's an opportunity." As the discussion continued, Marcus felt the room shift from apprehension to momentum. People were jotting down notes, throwing ideas back and forth, igniting a wildfire of thoughts that began with his own. Just when the energy peaked, Marcus's phone buzzed again. He glanced at it, his heart sinking anew. It was a message from his sister. "Did you see the comment section on that news article? People are furious. They're saying companies like yours will never change." He bit his lip, anxiety creeping in. Doubt tried to snake back into his mind, but he shook it off, forcing himself to focus on the room, the passion radiating around him. "Look," he said, leaning forward, "we can't control the narrative out there initially, but we can shape our own response step by step. We give our community something to believe in. They see us fighting with them, not against them." Hands shot up, questions pouring out like water from a fire hydrant. How do we start? What resources do we need? Who will lead this initiative? It felt as if a dam had broken. But beneath that surge of excitement was still that nagging doubt. Could they really turn this around? Wouldn't the resistance be fiercer now than ever? Every journey has its challenges, Marcus reminded them, his voice steady. What matters is that we take the first steps together. The room filled with a renewed sense of purpose, but unease lingered at the edges, like distant thunder on the horizon. What if the external pressures grew too loud? As Marcus prepared for the next round of discussions and strategies, he dared to hope that maybe, just maybe, this was the turning point they needed. All that effort could culminate into something bigger than themselves if they could just find the courage to challenge the status quo. But as the crowd moved inward, another notification pinged on his phone. Protest planned. Outside airline headquarters tomorrow. Marcus's breath hitched in his throat. The battle was just beginning. Would they be ready to face the tumult? As the meeting broke up, Marcus felt a mix of anticipation and dread. The rallying energy of the room faded, replaced by a heavy weight in his chest. He stepped outside into the crisp air, letting the coolness wash over him. The laughter and chatter of colleagues faded behind him as he moved towards a quieter corner of the lot. His thoughts spiraled. A protest? They hadn't even finalized their plans. Would the people outside see the passion inside? Or would they just see a company scrambling to manage a crisis? He had hoped to mobilize a movement, but now it felt like a fire was already raging, one they hadn't even prepared for. He pulled out his phone again, scrolling through the headlines. The outrage felt louder than ever, shouting accusations at him and his team. Images of people holding signs filled the screen, their faces twisted in anger. Stop the discrimination. Change now. The demands echoed in his mind, mixing with self-doubt. Would anything they did matter? In that moment, a little girl caught his eye. She stood nearby with her father, selling lemonade. Her small hands held up a sign that read, "Believe in change." Her innocent smile and belief in a better world shot through like a ray of sunlight breaking through dark clouds. He approached her, drawn in by her enthusiasm. "What made you come out here today?" he asked gently. "Because I want people to be happy. Everyone deserves to be treated kindly, right?" She beamed, her innocence striking a chord within him. "Yes, they do," Marcus replied with a small smile. "You have a wonderful heart." The father's eyes glimmered with pride as he watched his daughter talk. "Yes, right. It's about time we all spoke up, don't you think?" Marcus nodded, feeling something shift inside him. They might be small in number, but these voices mattered. They were the heartbeat of what he aimed to achieve. Together they could be the change his industry needed. As night took hold, Marcus felt a sense of urgency build. He hastily called for a strategy session with his team, eager to reshape their approach before the next day. They needed a plan, a response that combined their ideas from the meeting with the voices of their community. He worked through the evening, fueled by determination and the voices of those who believed in change. When he stepped back into the office, he found his colleagues buzzing with energy. Ideas flew across the table, people animatedly sharing how to approach the press, who to invite, and how to amplify the stories that mattered. There was a unity in the room he hadn't felt before, like the beginning of a beautiful symphony. "We can do this," Marcus shouted, raising a fist. "Let us show them we are not just words on a page. We are action. We're going to unite our community. Show them change is not just possible, it's inevitable." As they broke off into pairs to draft their plans, each step felt small yet monumental. The stakes were high, but so were the hopes. Suddenly, Marcus's phone buzzed once more. It was a video link sent to him by Patricia. "You need to see this," the message read. With a pounding heart he clicked on the video. What he saw completely took his breath away. There, in front of the very airline he fought for, were members of the community, and the cries were louder than ever. The scene was chaotic but filled with passion. The screen showed a familiar face, his sister boldly speaking into the camera. "We need accountability. We demand change." His heart raced, a mixture of pride and panic flooding his veins. Would this day bring them closer to the change they sought, or would they find themselves caught in the storm? With the specter of the protest looming, Marcus felt the weight of the moment. Change was on the horizon, but would it be enough? The protest was growing. Marcus felt the undercurrents of anxiety swirl around him as he stepped back into the office. His team was still bubbling with ideas, but now that energy felt charged with urgency. They had hours, just hours, to prepare for the chaos outside, and every moment counted. "Okay, let us focus," Marcus called out, trying to rein in the excitement and replace it with purpose. "We've got a chance here to turn this into something meaningful. We need to craft a message that speaks to the hearts of those out there. It's time we be honest about what's happening." As people nodded, Marcus could sense the shift. The camaraderie had transformed into something deeper, something driven by a shared commitment. He could see Patricia typing furiously at her laptop, already compiling thoughts from their previous discussions and the energy bubbling from the protest. "Let us include real stories. We need faces and voices. What do they want us to know?" he emphasized. "Let us go through our social media," suggested Jake, his eyes wide with enthusiasm. "We can gather stories from employees, customers, anyone who has had to face discrimination. Their pain, their triumphs, they matter." Marcus felt a rush of gratitude toward his team. They weren't just brainstorming now, they were building a platform. With every story shared, it felt like they were solidifying a bond between the airline and the people who depended on it. They broke into pairs again, each focused on their assigned tasks. As Marcus sat down with Patricia, the weight of responsibility mixed with pride pressed against him. "Are we really ready for this?" he asked quietly, needing reassurance. Patricia turned serious, her gaze piercing into him. "This is it, Marcus. People want action, not just words. If we're going to do this, we need to embrace who we are, flaws and all. We have to show we care." He nodded, the gravity of their mission settling deep within him. They had the chance to not only address the protests unfolding outside, but also to redefine their company's relationship with the community. In that moment, hope ignited the fire inside him. As they finished constructing their message, Marcus noticed the darkness outside through a window. The glow of streetlights mingled with the vibrant signs being held up in defiance. An image of the little girl selling lemonade flashed in his mind, reminding him of the innocence that was at stake. He gathered everyone again, the collective energy palpable. "Listen up. We've crafted our message, and I want every one of you to feel the weight of it. This is our chance to connect with our community. Let us find the courage to stand and fight for what's right. Not just for us, but for those kids dreaming of a better tomorrow." Cheers erupted, echoing off the office walls, sweeping away doubts. Everyone grabbed their phones, ready to share and amplify their message. Buzzing with adrenaline, they felt larger than just a team. They were becoming a movement. Suddenly, the door burst open, and a familiar face appeared. Marcus's sister rushed in, her eyes wide with urgency. "There's something you need to know," she declared, breathless. The energy in the room shifted immediately. People paused, their excitement dimming to concern. "What is it?" Marcus asked, concern lacing his voice. "There's a new video circulating. It's not just about the protest anymore. It puts our company in a worse light than before." His heart dropped. "What do you mean?" The sound of his heartbeat filled the silence, as everyone stared at her, waiting for the answer that would shape their next moves. What had just spiraled out of control on social media, and how would it impact their efforts for change? Marcus felt his chest tighten as he absorbed his sister's words. The excitement that had permeated the room moments before evaporated, replaced by a thick cloud of anxiety. "What kind of video?" he asked, his voice barely a whisper. His sister took a deep breath, trying to compose herself. "It's from a passenger. They filmed an incident on board that shows one of our flight attendants treating a black passenger disrespectfully during a delay. It's going viral, and the comments, they're brutal. People are outraged. The group fell silent, an icy weight hanging in the air. Marcus's mind raced. The impact of this video could undo everything they were trying to build, everything they had just worked for. He could almost hear the shouts from the protest outside, echoing the sentiments now spilling over into their digital world. Did you say it was just one incident? Patricia broke the silence, her brow furrowed in thought. Yeah, but one incident can ruin us, Marcus replied, pacing the floor. This is exactly what we were trying to combat. We can't let it define us. Maybe we can address it head-on, Jake suggested, his voice trembling slightly. Use it as a starting point for change. But we need to get ahead of it. We can't ignore it. Marcus stopped pacing, considering Jake's words. Right. We can't run from this. We have to be proactive. This is our moment to show our commitment to correcting our wrongs, not just to defend our reputation. His sister nodded, sensing the shift. People want accountability. If we come forward and admit we need to do better, it might help. But we have to act fast. Agreed, Marcus said, his determination igniting again. Let us draft a statement acknowledging the issue, and maybe a video response showing the steps we're willing to take. We need to make it clear that this does not reflect who we want to be. We stand against discrimination. Patricia tapped her fingers on the desk, her mind working. We can also reach out to the community. Let them know we're serious about change. Gather their stories, tell them we're listening. We need their voices now more than ever. Let us not stop with social media, Marcus added, pacing again with renewed vigor. We should host a town hall. Open discussions give people a platform. Let us own this and show that we're committed to doing better. The enthusiasm began creeping back, but uncertainty still loomed like a shadow. Moments went by with the room buzzing as the team brainstormed messages and plans. They could feel the urgency pressing against them. Okay, Marcus finally exclaimed, feeling the pulse of their collective energy. Let us do this. We're going to be transparent. We'll change the narrative. We can't let this define us. We have to show that we care. Just as he finished, a loud crash from outside jolted their focus. The sounds of chanting and commotion grew louder through the office walls. The protest was evolving, and he couldn't help but wonder how their actions would resonate with those rallying outside. Would they be seen as allies or just another corporation trying to clean up a mess? As the team galvanized their individual roles, Marcus's phone buzzed. He took a quick glance and felt his stomach drop again. An article headline read, Airline CEO responds to scandal. Is it too late? He turned to his sister, dread creeping into his voice. What if this backfires? What if they don't believe us? Then we must show them we mean it, she replied resolutely. If we're going to change, it has to start right now. We cannot be afraid of what comes next. Marcus nodded, holding on to her gaze. The air was charged, and he could feel the world around him tipping into a tumultuous wave. Together they could either rise above it or drown. Time to get to work, he said, determination spreading through him once more. As they dispersed to tackle their tasks, he knew one thing for sure. The moment of truth was coming. But was he ready to face the media tomorrow? And what truths would they unveil together? In the harsh light of scrutiny. As dawn broke, the city seemed different. The light poured through the windows, illuminating the office that had transformed overnight into a war room. Faces were cast in determination, though fatigue lingered heavily like an unseen weight. Okay, so first things first, Marcus said, pacing the room as he absorbed the palpable energy. We need to draft a solid statement. One that hits hard but is also sincere. Jake was already typing on his laptop. I can start a draft. We should emphasize our commitment to diversity and inclusion, and make it clear that we're taking this seriously, he replied, glancing up. Absolutely. It's not just about our brand. It's about people's lives, Patricia added, her voice steady but urgent. We owe it to that passenger and to everyone watching to approach this with respect. In the back, Marcus's sister squeezed Marcus's arm, trying to give him a moment of reassurance. She could see the worry etched deeply across his face. You got this, Marcus. Remember, we're all in this together, she whispered as they crafted the statement. The noise outside grew louder. The protests raged on, voices clamoring for acknowledgement and understanding. Each chant echoed through the walls, heightening the urgency in the room. It was almost suffocating, but Marcus drew strength from it. Let us make this personal, he said suddenly, jolting everyone's concentration back to him. We need to tell a story that people can connect with, that they can feel. It can't just be about us but about the individuals affected, like that passenger. Just then, a notification flashed across Marcus' phone. A video live-streamed from outside the office was making waves. People were marching, holding signs, demanding justice. Heart racing, he clicked on it. The screen was filled with people of all backgrounds, united in their message. "This is what I'm talking about," he murmured, watching their faces, feeling the intensity radiate from the screen. "We need to honor this movement, not just react to it." His team exchanged glances, surprised yet invigorated by his fervor. Patricia chimed in, "We could create a platform for people to share their experiences with discrimination, not just from our airline but in their everyday lives. It could even be at the town hall meeting, so everyone can feel they have a voice." "Great idea," Marcus replied, feeling the energy shift once more. "We'll showcase those stories across our channels. Authentic voices. Real narratives. That's how we transform this disaster into a movement." As they worked, the clock ticked ominously. The day would culminate in their public address, and preparing for that felt like stepping into the ring, fists raised, ready to fight back what felt like an insurmountable wave. Hours passed and eventually, the sun dipped lower, casting shadows across their busy office. The team huddled together, their hearts racing as they reviewed their final statement. It was bold, vulnerable, and most importantly, it acknowledged the truth. "Ready?" Marcus finally asked, his voice thick with emotion. "For what?" Jake replied, looking up with wide eyes. "For whatever comes next," he breathed, feeling sweat trickling down his back. Fear and excitement collided within him. They were about to expose themselves, to lay bare the company's soul before the world. As Marcus stepped outside to face the gathering crowd, he felt the energy shift again. Cheers rose, mixed with loud cries for justice. There was a sharpness in the air, electric and alive. "Time to show them who we really are," he muttered to himself. But still, doubt gnawed at the corner of his mind. Would the world really believe in their resolve? Would they truly see the sincerity behind the brand? With a deep breath, he prepared to step forward into the unknown. What would be the genuine response from the crowd? Would they embrace change, or would the backlash begin to tear away what little hope remained? The anticipation was thick as Marcus stepped into the light, the crowd's roar washing over him like a tidal wave. Every face blurred together, painted with anger, hope, and determination. He could feel their energy, like a bridge connecting him to their emotions, fears, and aspirations. "Here we go," he whispered, steeling himself for what was to come. He grabbed the microphone, his heart pounding against his chest. The air grew still, a collective breath held tight. "Thank you for being here," he started, his voice breaking slightly, each word trembling with the weight of the moment. He saw a mother in the front row, her eyes filled with tears. Beside her, a young man raised his fist, a gesture of strength and solidarity. "We stand here together because change is not just a word, it's a promise." The immediate response was electric. A wave of cheers surged through the crowd, igniting a flicker of hope within Marcus. He pressed on, recounting the story of the passenger whose experience had ignited this fire. He spoke of the dehumanizing treatment they faced, the sting of seeing an identity overshadowed by prejudice, and the heartbreak that came with discrimination. "We're taking responsibility, not just for what happened yesterday, but for a future that includes everyone." With every declaration, Marcus felt more empowered. He shared plans for community meetings, open forums, and how they would uplift the voices of those who felt voiceless. The faces in the crowd shifted from skepticism to curiosity, then to palpable hope. But all around him, whispers of doubt persisted. Would they really change? Would these promises translate into real action? He locked eyes with his sister, and the supportive smile she wore reassured him, providing the grounding he desperately needed. He turned to the crowd again. "I want to hear from you. I want you all to tell us how we can do better. This isn't just us talking at you. This is us listening to you." The murmurs amplified, a growing noise of enthusiasm mixed with calls for recognition. As he wrapped up, he felt warmth spread through him. Today isn't the end, but just the beginning. Together, let us build a future that is inclusive, diverse, and truly reflective of our values. We can't do it alone, and we don't want to. We need you to hold us accountable. Just as he finished, Applause erupted, powerful and uncontainable. Each clap resonated like a heartbeat, echoing the struggle they all faced together. But then, amid the roar, a critical voice cried out from the back of the crowd, "How can we trust you?" Silence fell like a heavy blanket as all heads turned towards the source of the challenge. Marcus's heart pounded fiercely in his chest. That was the question they had to face head-on. How could they possibly win back the trust that had been lost? He swallowed hard, ready to answer, but in that moment something deeper stirred within him. Perhaps it was more than just trust. It was the fear of vulnerability in accepting their faults while daring to hope for redemption. Yet this was his chance, a chance to open a dialogue. "We understand that trust is earned," he began slowly, grounding himself in honesty. "We're ready to show you that we're willing to do the groundwork, to navigate this journey together. We want to hear your truths, and yes, we want you to hold us accountable in our actions moving forward." The question hung in the air like a thick fog. Could they truly rebuild this bridge? A tension buzzed in the atmosphere, challenging the hope that temporarily lit the way. As he stood there, anticipation clawing at his insides, he wondered, was this moment enough to start the healing process, or had they only scratched the surface? How would they ensure that the words spoken today would turn into a lasting legacy of change? The moment lingered, heavy with uncertainty, and the crowd's energy shifted. Marcus felt the weight of every gaze pinned to him, expecting something more, something deeper. He took a breath, each second stretching into an eternity. "Rebuilding trust requires more than words," he continued, his voice steadying. "It demands action, and we are committed to walking this path together. I know words can feel empty." From the front row, a woman with fiery eyes called out, "Then what will you do to prove it?" Marcus's heart raced as he thought fast. This wasn't just a chance to speak, it was an opportunity. "We will create committees," he said, spurred on by her challenge. "Real people with real voices will guide our actions. You will be involved in every decision." The crowd's murmur amplified again, excitement weaving through the skepticism. He scanned the sea of faces, absorbing their doubts, fears, and flashes of hope. "We'll hold town halls that address your concerns, take feedback, and most importantly, put it into practice. We will establish a direct line, no filters. You deserve answers, and we want to be held accountable." A cheer erupted from the crowd, but he could still sense the lingering hesitation. "Talk is cheap," Marcus admitted, his palms sweating as he pushed the fear aside. "I get it. You're tired of promises." A young woman, her brow furrowed with skepticism, stepped forward. "What if you fail again? We've been here before." The conviction in her voice struck a chord in Marcus. She represented the voices that had felt unheard for too long. He wanted to reach out to show her he understood. "What if we fail?" he echoed. "Then we're going to get back up and change our approach. We will not shy away from the challenges. Each setback will be a lesson for us, not an excuse." He paused, letting those words sink in. Underneath the walls they had built, he sensed a yearning for authenticity. Trust is built in the moments of failure, too. When we admit our mistakes, when we come back to you, asking how we can make it right. As murmurs of agreement swelled, Marcus locked eyes with his sister again. Her unwavering support felt like an anchor in this storm. Then he suggested something bold. "I want to develop a community pact, a document that outlines our commitment not just to you but to each other. If we don't uphold it, then this is your opportunity to hold us accountable in public. Let us make it transparent." The applause grew louder, building into a unified chant of yes. The air crackled with anticipation, each person hungering for genuine connection. But amidst the exhilaration, doubt still nipped at his heels. Could they truly expect to heal wounds deep enough to challenge generations of indifference? Marcus spoke from the heart. "This is a fight for our future together, yours and mine. We're going to learn, grow, and if it takes all of us holding each other accountable, then so be it." As the cheers erupted again, he felt a bond forming. It was fragile but potent, a shared dream igniting in the air. Then, just when he thought he would bask in this moment, a voice cut through the noise, softer but laden with fear. "What if the system fights back? What if they shut us down?" The light dimmed momentarily as doubt coiled around them all. It was a haunting reminder of the obstacles they faced ahead. In that single question, the reality settled in. This fight wouldn't be easy. Would they have the resilience to sustain their resolve against the storms of resistance? Marcus looked out at the faces again. We will face those challenges together, he responded firmly, though a thread of anxiety tugged at him. But our dreams cannot be silenced. Not anymore. As the crowd erupted in applause once more, he felt the flickering flame of determination within him grow. This was just the beginning. But he knew they were standing on the precipice of what might come next. Would they rise together or falter beneath the weight of complacency? He took a deep breath, readying himself for what lay ahead. Change had become more than a promise. It was now a call to action. And the world beyond this moment awaited their next step. And deep down, Marcus realized that the fight for trust was only beginning. As he prepared to leave the stage, he thought about the next challenge. What pivotal moment would they face to either solidify or shatter their newfound resolve? As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting an amber glow over the sea of faces, Marcus stood firm, heart racing. The energy in the crowd buzzed with anticipation. He took a deep breath, a mix of excitement and anxiety filling his chest. We've spoken about unity, about accountability, and about trust, he began, his voice carrying a weight of earnestness. But words are only the starting point. Together we will forge a new path. With every word he could sense the tension shifting, uncertainty transforming into something more powerful: hope. He needed to rouse that hope, to wrap it around each person assembled before him as he continued. This isn't simply about the airline. It's about justice, about ensuring no one feels less than human because of who they are. We'll create spaces for dialogue. We'll listen. A ripple of agreement surged through the crowd, voices rising in a chorus of support and enthusiasm. Marcus glanced toward his sister, who nodded encouragingly, her fierce belief in him overflowing like a wellspring. We will establish an independent committee made up of community members, real people who will oversee our policies, challenge our methodologies, and help drive the changes needed to rebuild what has been lost. The response was a wave of applause, a rhythm of hope pulsing through the gathering. Yet somewhere deep within the crowd, a voice cut through the cheers. But how can we trust you when this has happened before? The room stilled and Marcus felt the weight of the question, raw and unrelenting. Trust isn't just given, Marcus acknowledged, looking directly at the speaker. It's earned, and I'd like to believe we're here to prove that we're willing to do the hard work needed to earn your trust back. Commitments are nothing without action to back them up. If we fail, we will rise and make it right. Together. In that moment something clicked. It was one thing to talk about reform, it was another to have community voices driving that reform. He felt a surge of adrenaline. Turning his eyes back toward the crowd, let us create a community accountability pact, an open document detailing what we commit to do together. If we fail, you'll have the power to hold us to it. A murmur spread through the crowd, growing into a wave of energized agreement. The shared sense of purpose ignited a fire within Marcus. Each of you here today is part of this movement, he said passionately. We will organize community meetings, workshops, and listening sessions, not just to talk but to act. Your stories matter, your struggles matter. Before he could continue, another voice rang out, stronger now. If you want to change, you must also change your hiring practices. Diversify your staff at all levels. The statement landed with resounding impact, and Marcus nodded vigorously. Absolutely. Diversity isn't just a checkbox. It's essential. We will foster inclusion from the ground up, from the leadership all the way to every single employee. Our team should reflect the extensive communities we are proud to serve. The crowd erupted again. This collective energy was palpable, bursting through the air like fireworks. Marcus felt the confidence swell within him. For so long they had been mired in complicated structures, but this felt like a revolution brewing, an honest movement for change. He took a glance around the crowd. There were young faces, old faces, a tapestry of hope mingling in the dim light. Let us put together a task force tonight. A mix of company representatives and community leaders. Let us face these challenges together. As if synchronized, voices rose in a chorus. Yes, we're with you. The synergy was bright, illuminating pathways that once felt impossibly shrouded in darkness. Feeling the momentum building, he continued, fleshing out ideas that erupted like inspirations drawn from the community initiatives focused on hiring minorities, grants for minority entrepreneurs, mentorship programs. Each proposal forged a deeper connection, channeling the urgency of the fight outside into a resounding commitment for change. And what we need to remember is transparency goes both ways. We will keep you informed. If we stumble, we'll share it with you, every setback, every win. Let us build a relationship founded on honesty, where we are accountable not just to ourselves, but to one another. As he spoke, a soft hush fell over the crowd. He could feel the sensation of something monumental emerging from the edges of uncertainty. The hope lit up the dark spaces, and he knew if they worked together, they could illuminate the path ahead. Finally, he rounded off, let today be not just a moment, but the launchpad for change. Together, let us rewrite our story, transform our community. Let us honor the legends in our past and create a future rooted in respect, understanding, and love. The air hummed with excitement, electric and alive. Cheers roared, voices united in agreement. And in that moment, Marcus felt the pulse of change surge through his veins. The fight was far from over. What lay ahead had its challenges, but he stood resolute because they were not alone. Together they could sculpt a bright future, one where everyone could thrive in a space of understanding and unity. As he stepped back, his heart raced with the thrill of hope, and deep down, he knew that this was the dawning of an era undaunted, unwavering, and transformative. And in the quiet aftermath, one thought rang clear in his mind. This wasn't just about an airline, it was about lives, about families, about everyone who dared to believe in the possibility of change. Now was the moment to build, to unite, and to ignite the spirit of hope across their community. As the crowd dispersed, Marcus felt the air lighten. This is the beginning, he declared with a fiery spirit. Let us move forward together. Now it's your turn to take action. You need to subscribe now to the channel, so you don't miss the next exclusive stories that inspire change. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help more people connect with these powerful narratives. Comment below with your thoughts and feelings about this ending. Let your voice resonate. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Help us spark a movement.